Morning folks, Baz the Garage Strongman here, and it's the first time on my newish or sort of rejigged session on chest this morning. So it's mainly chest now, although we are going to hit up some delt work later on. Keep the overhead for an earlier session in the week, but we're going to do some Aarons, Arnolds, things like that, sort of working medial and rear delt particularly in conjunction with the bench session. So please enjoy. Okay, as I'm just going to do a fairly light session, although as you know me, the heavier weights will start calling as I approach, but the plan is to keep it fairly light. I'm going to start my Garage Strong Bench program again probably next week, so it allows the first good few weeks to coincide with my Strongman events training. Obviously I've got comps coming up in a few weeks. Starting the 1st of August, and then I got 3 comps within 5 weeks, so heavily focused on that, but I won't neglect the bench. But as I say, those earlier sessions, the lighter stuff will coincide with me hitting the events a bit heavier. So today I'm going to give you a couple of little tips. You know, I don't profess to be an expert in bench or anything else, to be honest, but I'm always learning. I've got a wealth of knowledge behind me and my training myself over the years, helping others, and being well read, really, always looking out for new tips. So just a setup tip for you at the moment, and this is about, as you see people arching and things like that, the general idea is to retract your shoulder blades, pull them back towards the bench and down towards your feet. Gives you that solid setup, you're in a stronger position and you're less likely to injure your shoulders by sort of extending too far. That's where your injuries happen. So you see some people pulling up. By doing that, you're pulling your shoulders back and down, and then you just go straight back down in that position. So you're there or thereabouts, but what I found is something a little bit more helpful. If you've got racks, you can use them to pull yourself in. So if you imagine your chest area here needs to be driving back in there, and as you can see, as I lift my hips up or sort of arch, I'm not as good as arching as Sam, but that's also what you're doing. You're rotating your chest cavity back a bit, you're getting a more sort of contact with your back on the bench. As I'm over exaggerating the position now, so I've got my bum off the bench, I should be on the bench. Best practice, and also sort of legal requirement for powerlifting, your top of your butt at least must be hitting the bench there, so you can have a bit of an arch. But if I exaggerate here, as you can see, my back and all pulls in nicely there, and I use these bars to pull myself in, get my feet set, and then what I do as well to unrack on my own is keeping everything nice and tight on the bench there. Got my position, I over exaggerate to lift up, and then as I put my feet back down and my bum back on the bench, I'm in my position then, everything stays tight. And then we lower down to start position about the nipples, nothing moves now, no lift off with the butt, I've got my tight position, and we drive straight up to the arms straight. You can avoid a slight lockout if you like, if you're doing reps, but I'm pretty much fully extended there. If I let it go without my shoulders being there, so I haven't done that sort of movement. Now I've completely lost my position there just to demonstrate, so I'm going to dump that out. But obviously the idea is you maintain that then throughout your sets till you're done. There's no lift off, there's nothing silly there, you stay fixed to that and drive there. Hope that's helpful. Okay, 100 kilos now, so again, just check out my setup, go through that every time, regardless of whether you're just using the bar or light weights, so that becomes second nature. You've got that solid position. As I say, it's mainly to avoid injury. It is a stronger position with that slight arch, everything pulled back tight. Your range of motion is slightly less than it could be, but in terms of just working the chest, that's as much as you can do. You know, if you're pushing any further, you're using your shoulders, your neck, you'll find you have those problems where you get a knot in the neck there and everything. That's from overstraining and coming out of that position. If you keep everything back and tight, you know, touch wood, that's metal. You know, you should minimise your risk of injury at least. You know, when you're pushing and going for PBs and stuff, you do recruit other stuff, and that's when injuries happen. But give yourself the best chance by trying to stick to that set up procedure every time. Make every rep look the same. Becomes second nature then. You do deviate sometimes, it goes, but I find that, you know, filming does help, so I'm pulling myself back and in. 100 kilos on the bar now, so 220 pounds. Keep that position with the shoulders on the back, nice and tight, lift off and down to start position. And you're driving from your feet, especially if you've got that better arch than me. You're driving your feet, you're driving yourself backwards into the bench towards my head. Don't know how many that was, but I'll do it. Whoosh! Okay, 120 on the bar, probably just get a few on this. Whoosh! Okay, I did 3 on 130 and 1 on 140 prior to this. Now we're on 150. I'm not going to go any higher. Depending on how it goes, I might do a second single. But I'm going to call it a day there and do some delts work to finish off. Reach! Oh. Little lift off with a bun there, so that wouldn't have been legal in powerlifting comps, but I'm happy enough to get it. Whoosh! Right folks, I'm not going to film my shoulder work now. I think the video is probably long enough with my little setup tutorial on the bench. So if you've enjoyed this little video, please drop me a thumbs up and please subscribe for future strongman content. I'm Baz Agaris Strongman. See you soon.